Hey, so I wanted to talk about the intention that I sort of stated, and I think it was maybe June 23rd or 24th, when I was talking about what it feels like when it's just done and what that's been for me. And when I sort of mused out loud, I've never done that with my view of my own body, you know, my own happiness, you know, in my skin at whatever weight I'm, you know, just, I've kind of, for the longest time, you know, I've talked on this channel about my body issues and how I finally was able to make a bunch of physical changes, and then how I still wasn't happy and all this stuff that kind of led me to getting much more deeply into the mental stuff that is the topic of this channel last December. And I mused on this video, you know, I never just said, I want to be happy with my body, it's done. And allowed, you know, I never turned that over to the creative forces. I've always kept that as something that I needed to monitor. And it's really obvious to me thinking about it that that was, you know, how I was viewing it. Like, this is too important for me to stop monitoring for 1 second, because in my mind I always felt like if I just relax about this, I'm going to put on 50 pounds in like 2 days. Like, I'm going, you know, if I stop controlling this in every way, I'm going to gain back, I'm going to gain like 100 pounds. And so I did that. I had that intention. I just said, okay, it's done, you know, the way I do, which is basically just to strongly intend it and then release it essentially to the thing that does everything, that orchestrates everything. And I did that. And I think I'll link to the videos below about that. I have to find them. I think I've made kind of an update video about that a few weeks later, because some interesting things started happening right away. Firstly, when I let that go, I kind of had this sense of relief about it, started feeling better about it. And then I sort of did start indulging much more all of my whims to eat. You know, like I went through an ice cream phase. I was getting ice cream every day, and it was just sort of off the rails a little bit. And I gained about 5 pounds over the next couple of weeks because I had some other stressful things going on. That was when my friend Steve got back in contact with me again. And then my specific person contacted me, and we had some conversations. And it was right when I first started talking to Matt and Ernest, and there was some little ups and downs with that at first. And so I was stressed out, and I was kind of dealing with it by eating, more so than I would have when I was being strict about it. So I gained some weight. I noticed I was gaining weight, and I was having this inner conflict between, I know it's done, I gave it to this thing, I want to control it, you know, I know that, you know, for me, knowing that it's done releases this feeling of trying to manipulate 3D using your own measly human power. So I was really trying to not go there with that, like, get all, you know, like about it like I normally do. Like, I need to make a plan, I need to stick to this, I need to like flog myself, you know. I was trying not to do that, and it was a struggle. I was having this mental conflict about knowing it was done and then my urge to control, and it just got to the point where it was stressing me out, and I just said, what is this all over? I weigh 126 pounds. This is not an emergency. I am not an object that other people need to approve of. This is insanity, what I'm dealing with mentally right now. This is not right. And I just got all pissed all of a sudden, and I was like, I'm not an object. And I just sort of downloaded this understanding that what I was doing was mentally was insane, and based on an incorrect perception that I need to be perfect, that I need to weigh a certain amount, that my body cannot look a certain way, even in clothing. That was a big thing for me. That little, when things sort of came to a head at that moment, that was sort of the first big thing that happened. And then I think, man, so many things came together just the right time. I feel like Matt was so instrumental in that intention. Because a lot of what was left with being displeased with my body was a fear of, you know, because if you're going to be in a relationship with somebody, which of course I was intending to do, you know, there's the physical part of it, and, you know, I couldn't quite put together, okay, you know, how do I be okay with this body that I'm in if I'm not sure that this is going to be enough for a partner? Like, that was really all that was left, because I'm okay with how I look in clothes. I've always kind of been okay with my body, even when I was much heavier. You know, it's not like I'm offended by my body. It's always been in relation to another person romantically. And then also this like stuff of just not being acceptable, the object thing that I think sort of came from my mom, my upbringing with that. So I kind of let go of like the other people not accepting me thing, and then it was just this significant other in my mind. You know, how do I, you know, I just had this apprehension, feeling like what if I'm not good enough for somebody else romantically? And Matt just like came along like an angel, and, you know, we were having conversations about that stuff in like early July, and there were a few moments in there that were just really, like, he just said some things. You know, he told me that I was more than my body, and in a way that I was just able to hear. You know, it just kind of like reminded me, oh yeah, you know, the physical relationship between two people who love each other romantically is not solely based on the physical. There's a lot more to it than that. You know, in just a way that I had forgotten. You know, of course I've experienced that before in my life, but having things be kind of screwed up in that way in my last few relationships, which my last 2 serious relationships encompass the last 20 years of my life, more or less. So that's a long time to be out of touch with, you know, I don't have to be perfect and somebody will still want me physically. So Matt just kind of came along and reminded me of that. And then, of course, we met in person, and there's been, it's insane. Like, I don't know, I still can't explain this relationship and where it came from and what it is. it's still so new that I don't, you know, I don't have the benefit of hindsight or any of the wisdom that comes with that. But basically, since day one, I have been completely comfortable with Matt in every way. Like, in person, it was just remarkable. You know, I'm more comfortable around him physically than I am around, like, my ex that I was with for, not with, but that I've had a relationship with for 12 years. I can't explain it. Like, I just don't, there are just no issues. Like, not to get too personal, but like, I just like we just like got naked together, and I didn't have any, there was no self-consciousness. I didn't even think about it. Like, it just didn't even occur to me in the way that, you know, it has in the past couple decades. It's just totally, it's like he just showed up, and the rest of this issue for me just got completely resolved. And so now, so the intention was, I want to be completely happy with my body. And it's like it's taken the form of a few key realizations, downloads that came from me refusing to continue to fight on the 3D level the way I was, to toil at it mentally. That changed some things. And then meeting this person that sort of removed the rest of it. And now I'm just left with the fact that I actually still want my body physically to be different, which is just a matter of some work in my mind. It's just a matter of some exercise and some dieting, some typical run-of-the-mill stuff that is no longer being encumbered by all of this mental stuff, because there was this resistance to having to be perfect for somebody, because you shouldn't have to be. I mean, that's clear, you know, like in this relationship that I have with Matt, it's obvious that there's no perfection needed, because the relationship we have is so awesome and right that it just, the idea that either of us would have to be physically, like to me, the idea that he would have to be physically perfect in any way is just absurd. Like, I'm just happy that he has a body that I can interact with, you know? And he makes me feel that way too. So like, I don't know, that seemed to really fix everything. A lot of the resistance, like, it's just gone. I know I don't have to do anything to be good enough for him. And I don't have to do anything to be good enough for anyone else, because I stopped giving a shit about that in a miraculous moment where I realized I'm not an object. And now it's just like, I'm to the point now where it's back to me and what do I want? Like, how do I want my body to look? How do, you know, how much do I want to do? What do I want my life to look like with exercising and food and all that stuff? And it's just a matter now of just kind of picking and doing stuff. And this is not to say that I'm not still being neurotic about it and thinking about it all the time. And that stuff, it seems to be just like hardwired into my brain at this point. You know, it's on my mind, but there is this noticeable lack of feeling like my value or my worth depends on it. There's this stress that's gone. It's awesome. Like, this thing that was really like a bad thing in my life is just noticeably gone. And so I don't know, I hope to make another video about this in a couple of months. I made a plan for what I want to do. I know exactly what I want to do. Like, I know, I think I know what I want. You know, I'll have to be open to adjusting along the way, but I'm pretty sure I know how much I want to weigh, what I want my body composition to be, how I want to look, you know, what I think is like most reflective on the outside of who I am. And I'm just getting to work on that now. And it's like a fun challenge now for me. There's no stress, and it doesn't have to happen in order for me to be good enough to get the thing I want, you know, romantically. I don't have to look a certain way for anybody else. And so there's just, it's, you know, I wanted peace and I have it. So that intention has pretty much fully come to pass in terms of the peace aspect of it. And in terms of the full outward manifestation, stay tuned for that, because I'm pretty sure this is it. This is it. All of the mental adjustment that needed to happen has. And now I will finally, started off in the 190, 195 area, pretty much got down to 125, never really gotten too far away from 125. I got down to 115 last December, but I was still coming at it from this, you know, I need to do this to be acceptable mentality. And so, and it wasn't what I wanted, you know, it wasn't the 115 I wanted. So now, by the end of this year, I'm pretty sure I will have achieved what I want with that. So I just wanted to talk about that, you know, when you start out with the manifestation stuff, I think there's a lot of getting of objects or money or ego type things, and eventually you get the things you want and you're still not happy in many ways, I think, for a lot of people. And then it comes down to figuring out what it is that you really need to have happen mentally to enjoy what you have. And so, you know, an intention of being happy with something, these more, you know, these broader intentions become something that, you have to do. And I just wanted to report that, you know, the same interesting series of events happen to bring you to a mental place you intend for as happen to bring you a physical object or something like that. You know, I have kind of this miracle person that came into my life and took me the rest of the way. Pretty awesome stuff. So I just wanted to make what I hope is the second to last video about my body bullshit. And hopefully the next one will be I have achieved physically what I actually finally want as the, you know, end goal. Get 100% of the way there. Have a good one.